let's talk about triggers and how the BSE can have different doors to get us there. So let's trigger, right? The trigger. Maybe there's multiple triggers at once. Sometimes that happens. And let's just look at this. These are all supposed to be multiple doors in. And let's see which ones you tend to use and which ones might be something helpful as we remind you what's possible. And those of you who don't have the book or the course, might be a good time to pick it up. Here's the book, and the course is, Jack can let you know about that. Okay, so let's start with simple ones. A thought, feeling, and sensations. That's one of the main foundational building blocks. Then we have facts, feelings, and interpretations. Another way in. How about deconstructing triggers? It's another piece that we have, and we can go through all these. Working with different parts, parallel lives. And in that, we do a lot of linking between the past and the present. Finding a choice point, telling and retelling, and then an older, wiser self. And there's an audio in the course that's there that takes you through it. And we just did this in our other coaching group, and people found going into the future a way to really calm the present. And I'm going to go through that with you all at some point, but it's amazing how we don't think that, we think, oh, it's just going to be filled with more to-dos. But actually the research is finding that the further out we go, our mind settles, our heart calms. So that's another good resource. So as you take a look at all this, which ones do you tend to use? Is there one that you use more than another? Is there any that you don't use at all? And then we're going to have check-in, and then what do you find helpful about the practice that you use when you use it? Beautifully said. And one of the important points you speak to is that when we're physiologically distressed, when we're in our sympathetic, sometimes we need to get, I don't want to say out of our body, but use a different aspect of our body to help be with it, because it's hard to calm ourselves when we're like this, right? So think even the simple thing of, oh, I'm triggered, is going to start slowing the process. It's going to move from an activation personal to a third person. So beautiful. Thank you. Fabulous. Right. Yeah. So you're saying that just by identifying that it's a younger part, it helps give you a little bit of that buffer zone inside. Sometimes when those parts are so triggered, it's not like an simple little thing that we can intervene on. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and days can go by when we're calming ourselves down and reassuring ourselves. But yes. And narrowing our attention, focusing down, and then taking a small bit, letting it move. And she said that titrating down and just taking a thimbleful is one of the things that she's really used a lot over the years. You're bringing up how important it is to externalize something. Speaking about it is externalizing it, and using them in art to put them outside of us. That's one way. Externalizing parts, So important. Take it from inside and out. So it's no longer rattling inside our skin. And even the simple thing that the meditation I led, feeling the space that's in there, because what tends to happen is we tend to contract when we're triggered and hold it in. We need to find ways to move it, like Barbara said, going for a walk. All that can dissipate a little bit, move through us. The two things you said are really important. One is the playfulness, right? Why is that? Why does that help balance out a trigger? And what about the lightning? They're both the kind of, think about that for yourselves. When you're triggered, what if you were to watch a funny movie? What if you were to put your hand in a lot of gooey paint and smudge it somewhere? What if you were to smack water in the pool? Or I'm making things up. Why would that balance out the trigger? And let's all like expand our awareness too. In our own times when we're triggered or on the verge of being triggered or recovering from a trigger, right? There's multiple segments of it. What could we, I hate to use the word practice because we overuse that in some ways, but what could we begin to think about, be with that would, so take a moment, think about, what something that happened in the recent past, and how could you have brought play in? How could you have lightened the load?